Tua finally got paid. Him and the Dolphins have come to terms on a 4-year deal worth $212.4 million. 167.1 of that is going to be fully guaranteed. And this is the largest 4-year deal in NFL history. Tua is now the third highest paid quarterback in the game behind Joe Burrow and Trevor Lawrence. Listen, nobody should really be tripping off the amount that Tua got paid, because we already know how it goes at this point. Whenever there's a quarterback in line to get a new deal, they're always going to end up becoming one of the highest paid, if not the highest paid. So I don't have a problem with the salary. My question with Tua is that, are we going to see him perform better in big games? Regardless of how you Miami Dolphins fans believe I feel about Tua, I don't hate the dude. I don't think he's garbage. I don't think he's overrated. And I think he's a damn good quarterback. But I'm not one of those folks who see him as a quarterback that can get you to a Super Bowl. You see, when are we going to start seeing Tua Tagovailoa actually show up in these big-time games? Because we saw the Dolphins put 70 on the Denver Broncos last year, but got blowed out by the Buffalo Bills the following week. And every time Tua went head up against Josh Allen always looked like the more superior, more talented quarterback. With Tua now, with him getting this much money, you're never going to be able to field a complete team around him. So is he going to be able to overcome the limitations that he's going to have to deal with, possibly never having a good offensive line? You're getting all of this money. That's going to take away from what the Dolphins are going to be able to do in terms of bringing in free agents to improve the interior of that offensive line. You're pretty much saying that, hey, Tua's our guy, and we can win with whatever we put around him. He's 32-19 as a starting quarterback in the league. That's one of the better win-loss records in the National Football League. And overall, Tua is a top 10 quarterback, probably top 8 in my opinion. He's really accurate, does a really good job of taking care of the football, but in big moments in big games, he always tends to come up short more times than he does end up coming up clutch. Once you get into the playoffs and you have to play a guy like Patrick Mahomes, you have to be on your best game in the fourth quarter when palms get sweaty, chests get tight. Can Tua deliver a game-winning drive to get the Dolphins far in the postseason? Because that's what it's going to take. At this point, we already know Tua's a good quarterback, but is he a championship caliber QB? Because right now, many Dolphins fans feel Tua's the best quarterback they've had since Dan Marino, which I would agree with that statement. But just because he's the best QB you've had in recent memory doesn't guarantee that he's going to be the dude to lead you to the promised land, because you could find yourself 4 or 5 years down the road in the same kind of situation that the Dallas Cowboys are in with Dak Prescott. It's hard to move on from guys such as Dak and Tua that win you games, they get you to the playoffs, they give you high-end quarterback play throughout the regular season, but once you get into the playoffs, it's a different animal, and those guys play their worst football. You need Tua to flip that switch and play good enough to take down a Lamar, a Joe Burrow, or a Mahomes in the postseason. And that's why I've always been such a big critic of Tua, because when he was coming out of Alabama, I thought this dude was going to be a top 5 quarterback in the game. And he hasn't played like that in most of these big games that the Miami Dolphins play in. Now, I'm not going to put it all on Tua and say that it's all his fault for why the Dolphins have a lot of shortcomings in these primetime matchups, but he definitely needs to step up his level of play with the money that he's about to start getting paid over the next couple of years with this new contract extension. Like I said, he's a high-end quarterback, and it's difficult to move on from somebody like Tua Tagovailoa because you definitely can do a lot worse. It's definitely hard to find top 10 level quarterback play in today's NFL, but you also have to be willing to roll the dice and bank on somebody else being the dude. And I'm wondering if Tua over these next couple of years is going to cement himself as one of those quarterbacks who can either get you over the hump in the postseason, or when the playoffs rolls around, you always know that he's going to be a no-show. So the Miami Dolphins have made Tua the third highest paid quarterback in the NFL. I know that there's going to be a lot of split opinions in the comment section, but I don't have any problem with this signing. I'm just expecting more out of Tua. I believe that if he would have played in that wild card matchup when they had to start Skylar Thompson, they would have won that game against the Buffalo Bills. Josh Allen was imploding. He was turning the football over. He didn't really have that good of a game. The only reason I believe the Dolphins lost was because they didn't have good quarterback play in that game. And we haven't seen too much of Tua in the postseason. Last year was his first ever playoff game. So over these next couple of years, I'm going to be heavily critical when it comes to evaluating Tua's playoff performances, because if I'm going to make you the third highest paid quarterback in the game, I need to start seeing you deliver in the postseason. And if not, I don't care how good you are during the regular season. The postseason is where legends are made. That's when we see the elite quarterbacks separate themselves from the average quarterbacks. Which one is Tua? Is he a Dak Prescott, or is he an actual top 5 elite quarterback in this game?